श्रील भक्तिवेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्रील गुरुदेव की जय। नितिल विष्णु विष्णुपाद अश्रित रक्षित श्रील भक्तिवेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जय। नितिल विष्णु विष्णुपाद अश्रित रक्षित श्रील भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। नितिल विष्णु विष्णुपाद अश्रित रक्षित श्रील भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय। नितिल विष्णु विष्णुपाद अश्रित रक्षित श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय। नितिल विश्व महाभागवत श्रील गोक्षर बाबाजी महाराज की जय। नितिल विश्व श्रील सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नितिल विष्णु वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्रील जगन्नाथ दास बाबाजी महाराज की जय। श्री रूप गौरीय गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शार गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम चैश्ल हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदात गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय। श्री मुनि देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाया की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Today anything special? I don't think so. All right. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Vedanta Narayaniti Namine. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Yam Pravrajantam Anupetam Apeta Krityam Dvaipayano Virahaka Tara Ajuhava Putreti Tanmayataya Taravo Binedu Sangsarva Bhuta Hridayam Munimanatosmi. Narayanam Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayat. Shrinvatang Swakata Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtana Hridantasto Yabhadrani Vidhunoti Suritsatam. Nashta Prayesh Pabadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Tavai Vasmi Na Jivami Tvaya Vina Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tvam Nayamang Charanantikam. Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Kshiptashtaka Madhitaranga Madhe Kripa Maitam Sharanam Prapanna Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. So, day before yesterday, we read about how Jitashva, the eldest son of Prithu, was just like his father. He had a reputation just as like his father. He gave eastern region to his brother Haryaksha, southern region to his brother Dhumrakesha, western region to Vrika, northern region to Dravina. And Indra gave him the name Antardan, which means to be able to disappear, and he gave him that power also. Then Vijitashva, through his wife Shikandi, they gave birth to Pavaka, Pavamana, and Suchi, who are formerly fire gods. And then Vijitashva and his wife Nabaswati, they gave birth to Havirdhana. And considering his kingly duties like taxing, punishing, and finding people to be very severe and painful, Vijitashva gave them up on the plea of performing a long sacrifice. Although engaged in sacrifice, he worshipped the Supreme Lord Paramatma in the form of Hansa Avatar and attained his planets very easily. Then that son Havirdhana, through his wife Nabaswati, that son Havirdhana married Havirdhani, and they begot 6 sons: Barhishat, Gaya, Shukla, Krishna, Satya, and Jitavrata. And Barhishat's name changes to Prachina Barhi, right? Anyway, so Barhishat, he was a Prajapati expert in karma kanda sacrifices and mystic yoga. He performed many sacrifices and scattered kush grass all over the earth with their tips pointing east. On the order of Brahma, Barhishat married Shatadruti, the very young and beautiful daughter of the ocean. Shatadruti's beauty attracted even Agni. Anyways, they gave Prachina Barhi and Shatadruti, they had 10 sons called the Prachetas. Their name, and they were all equal in vows and endowed with religiosity. They were ordered by their father to beget children, and they entered the ocean for 10,000 years to perform austerities and worship the Supreme Lord. On their way, they met Lord Shiva, who was pleased with them and gave them instructions and his prayers. With complete control, the Prachetas meditated on, chanted, and worshipped these instructions. Then Vidura asks these 2 questions to Maitreya. What did Lord Shiva, being pleased, speak when the Prachetas met him? And how did they get his rare darshan? Lord Shiva is self-satisfied, but to help people accomplish their material desires, he manifests in the material world, accompanied by his dangerous energies like goddess Kali and Durga. Now this is Maitreya's reply to Vidura. He says, the Prachetas, accepting their father's instructions on their heads, traveled westward to perform austerities. And they saw a huge, beautiful lake, which was calm like the mind of a saint. Its inhabitants appeared very peaceful. It was filled with various birds. One second. Okay. It was filled with various beautiful lotuses, blooming in day, night, and twilight, and sweet-sounding birds, such as swans, cranes, chakravakas, and karandavas. There were also trees, creepers, and humming bees, and the wind scattered the lotus pollen everywhere, which thus made a festive atmosphere. The Prachetas became amazed hearing the attractive celestial songs. At that time, they saw Lord Shiva with a golden complexion, bluish throat, and 3 eyes, along with his associates, emerge from the lake. They all offered their obeisances. Shiva was pleased with the Prachetas because of their knowledge of dharma and their good conduct. Thus he spoke to them. Shiva said, "Good fortune unto you. I know your plans and have come here to give you mercy." Shiva explains why he is merciful to the Prachetas. Krishna's devotee is dear to me. Anyone who is completely surrendered to Vasudeva, the controller of everything, is actually very dear to me. Attaining Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu. A person fixed in Dharma for 100 births attains the post of Brahma. By more pious acts, one attains me, Shiva. But by unalloyed devotional service, a Vaishnava attains Vaikuntha. Therefore, devotees like you are as dear to me as the Lord himself. And the devotees who also consider me dear to them as the Lord, and the devotees also consider me as dear to them as the Lord himself. Let me give you a pure, auspicious, and transcendental mantra, the chanting of which bestows the highest benefit. With a merciful heart, Shiva spoke to the prachetas who stood with folded hands. Rudra-gīta. We'll be reading this over the next 4 days. It's from verse 33 to 68. Obeisances to the Lord in the form of the Caturvyūha and the presiding deities of the elements for self-purification. Oh, wow. And there's the Lord's quality and then the purpose of the prayer. The Lord's quality, the purpose of the prayer. Anyways, we'll look at this table again tomorrow. We're going to go through the Caturvyūha, Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. Alright. Oh, and Dandavat Pranams, Madhavi Didi, Indira Mataji, Rup Manjari Didi. Yes, today is looking a bit less rainy. It's going to rain today, but right now it's Dandavat Pranams, Pradyumna Prabhu. I don't know if Rukmini is there. Anyways, Dandavat Pranams to everybody. Alright, so verse 33. Okay, beginning the Rudra-gīta. Shri Rudra Uvacha Jitam Tatma Vidvarya Swastaye Swastirastu Me Bhavatara Dasaradam Sarasma Atmane Nama. Let me just check. We're reading up to 43. Okay, good. 10 verses today. Lord Shiva addressed the Supreme Personality of Godhead with the following prayer. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, all glories unto you. You are the most exalted of all self-realized souls. Since you are always auspicious for the self-realized, I wish that you be auspicious for me. You are worshipable by virtue of all perfect instructions you give. You are worshipable by virtue of all the perfect instructions you give. You are the Super-Soul. Therefore, I offer my obeisances unto you as the Supreme Living Being. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. One second. I just want to read. As soon as a devotee is inspired by the Lord to offer the Lord a prayer, the devotee immediately glorifies the Lord in the beginning by saying, "All glories unto you, my Lord." The Lord is glorified because he is considered to be the chief of all self-realized souls. As said in the Vedas, Kata Upanishad 2.2.13, Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam. The Supreme Being, the Personality of Godhead, is the chief living being amongst all living beings. There are different kinds of individual living beings. Some of them are in this material world, and some are in the spiritual world. Those who are in the spiritual world are known to be completely self-realized because on the spiritual platform, the living entity is not forgetful of his service to the Lord. Therefore, in the spiritual world, all those who are in the devotional service of the Lord are eternally fixed, for they understand the position of the Supreme Being, as well as their individual constitution. Thus, amongst the self-realized souls, The Lord is known as the perfectly self-realized soul, Nityo Nityananam Chaitanas Chaitananam. When the individual soul is fixed in his knowledge of the Lord as the Supreme Being, he actually becomes established in an all-auspicious position. Lord Shiva prays herein that his auspicious position continue eternally by virtue of the Lord's mercy upon him. The Supreme Lord is all perfect, and the Lord instructs that one who worships him also becomes perfect. As stated in Bhagavad-Gīta 15:15, Mata smritir jnanam apohanam cha. The Lord is situated as a supersoul in everyone's heart, but he is so kind to his devotees that he gives them instructions by which they may continue to progress. When they receive instructions from the All-Perfect, there is no chance of their being misled. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad-Gīta 10:10. Tadami buddhiyogam tam yena mam upayanti te. The Lord is always ready to give instructions to the pure devotee so that the devotee can advance further and further in devotional service. Since the Lord gives instructions as a Sarvatma, the Supersoul, Lord Shiva offers him respect with the words Sarvatma Atmane Nama. The individual soul is called Atma, and the Lord is also called Atma, as well as Paramatma. Being situated in everyone's heart, the Lord is known as the Supreme Atma. Therefore, all beings are offered unto him. In this regard, one may refer to the prayers of Kunti in the first canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1.8.20. Tata paramahamsanam muninam amalatmanam bhakti yoga vidhanartam katam pashyema hi striya. The Lord is always ready to give instructions to the Paramahamsas, or the topmost devotees of the Lord, who are completely liberated from all contaminations of the material world. The Lord always gives instructions to such exalted devotees to inform them how they can remain fixed in devotional service. Similarly, it is stated in the Atma Rama verse, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1.7.10, Atma Ramaschamunayo nirgranta apyurukrume kurvantya haiktukim bhaktim itam bhutto guno hari. The word Atmarama refers to those who are not interested in the material world, but are simply engaged in spiritual realization. Such self-realized persons are generally considered in two categories, impersonal and personal. However, impersonalists also become devotees when they are attracted by the personal, transcendental qualities of the Lord. The conclusion is that Lord Shiva wanted to remain a fixed devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudeva. As explained in the following verses, Lord Shiva never desires to merge into the existence of the Supreme Lord like the impersonalists. Rather, he thinks that it would be good fortune for him to continue to be fixed in the understanding of the Lord as the Supreme Being. By this understanding, one realizes that all living entities, including Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and other demigods, are servants of the Supreme Lord. Namo Pankajanaಭaya Bhuta Shukshmendriyatmane Vasudevaya Shantaya Kutastaya Sarochishe. My Lord, you are the origin of the creation by virtue of the lotus flower which sprouts from your navel. You are the supreme controller of the senses and the sense objects, and you are also the all-pervading Vasudeva. You are most peaceful, and because of your self-illuminated existence, you are not disturbed by the 6 kinds of transformations. Purport. The Lord as Garbhadakshay Vishnu lies in the ocean of Garbha within this universe, and from his navel the lotus flower sprouts. Lord Brahma is generated from that lotus flower, and from Lord Brahma, the creation of this material world begins. As such, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Garbhadakshay Vishnu, is the origin of the material senses and sense objects. Since Lord Shiva considers himself to be one of the products of the material world, his senses are under the control of the Supreme Creator. The Supreme Lord is also known as Hrishikesh, the master of the senses, which indicates that our senses and sense objects are formed by the Supreme Lord. As such, he can control our senses and out of his mercy engage them in the service of the spiritual master of the senses. Did I say spiritual master? Sorry. he can control our senses and out of his mercy engage them in the service of the master of the senses, himself. And the condition states, the living entity struggles in this material world and engages his senses for material satisfaction. However, if the living entity is graced by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he can engage these very senses in the service of the Lord. Lord Shiva desires not to be misled by the material senses, but to engage always in the service of the Lord without being subject to contamination by materialistic influences. By the grace and help of Lord Vasudeva, who is all-pervading, one can engage his senses in devotional service without deviation, just as the Lord acts without deviation. The word Shantaya Kutastaya Swarochise are very significant. Although the Lord is within this material world, he is not disturbed by the waves of material existence. However, conditioned souls are agitated by 6 kinds of transformations, namely, they become agitated when they are hungry, when they are thirsty, when they are aggrieved, when they are illusioned, when they grow old, and when they are on the deathbed. Although conditioned souls become very easily illusioned by these conditions in the material world, the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the Supersoul, Vasudeva, is never agitated by these transformations. Therefore it is said here, Kutastaya, that he is always peaceful and devoid of agitation because of his prowess, which is described herein as Swarochishe, indicating that he is illuminated by his own transcendental position. In other words, the individual soul, although within the illumination of the Supreme, sometimes falls down from that illumination because of his tiny position, and when he falls down, he enters into material conditional life. The Lord, however, is not subject to such conditioning. Therefore, he is described as self-illuminated. Consequently, any conditioned soul within this material universe can remain completely perfect when he is under the protection of Vasudeva, or when he is engaged in devotional service. Sankarshanaya Shukshmaya Turantayantakaya cha Namo Vishwa Prabodhaya Pradumnayantaratmane. My dear Lord, you are the origin of the subtle material ingredients, the master of all integration, as well as the master of all disintegration. The predominating deity named Sankarshan, and the master of all intelligence known as the predominating deity Pradyumna. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Purport. The whole universe is maintained by the integrating power of the Supreme Lord, who is known in that capacity by the name Sankarshan. The material scientists may have discovered the law of gravity, which maintains the integration of objects within the material energy. Yet, the master of all integration can create devastation by the disintegrating blazing fire emanating from his mouth. A description of this can be found in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad-gīta, wherein the universal form of the Lord is described. The master of integration is also the destroyer of this world by virtue of his disintegrating energy. Sankarshan is the master of integration and disintegration, whereas Pradyumna, another feature of the Lord, is responsible for the universal growth and maintenance. The word Shukshmaya is significant because within this gross material body there are subtle material bodies, namely mind, intelligence, and ego. The Lord and his different features, Vasudeva, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, and Sankarshan, maintains both the subtle and material elements of this world. As mentioned in Bhagavad-gīta, the gross material elements are earth, water, fire, air, and ether, and the subtle material elements are mind, intelligence, and ego. All of them are controlled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha, and this will be further explained in the following verse. Namo Namo Niruddhaya Rishikeshendriyatmane Nama Paramahangsaya Purnaya Nibhritatmane. My Lord, As the supreme directing deity known as Aniruddha, you are the master of the senses and the mind. I therefore offer my obeisances unto you again and again. You are known as Ananta, as well as Sankarshan, because of your ability to destroy the whole creation by the blazing fire from your mouth. Purport. Hrishikeshendriyatmane. The mind is the director of the senses, and Lord Aniruddha is the director of the mind. In order to execute devotional service, one has to fix his mind on the lotus feet of Krishna. Therefore, Lord Shiva prays to the controller of the mind, Lord Aniruddha, to be pleased to help him engage his mind on the lotus feet of the Lord. Hey, that's good. I know who to pray to now when my mind's going crazy. Aniruddha. It is stated in Bhagavad-gīta 9:34, Manmana bhavamar bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. The mind has to be engaged in meditation on the lotus feet of the Lord in order to execute devotional service. It is also stated in Bhagavad-gīta 15:15, Matta smritir jnanam apohonam cha. From the Lord come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Thus, if Lord Aniruddha is pleased, he can help the mind engage in the service of the Lord. It is also indicated in this verse that Lord Aniruddha is the sun god by virtue of his expansions. Since the predominating deity of the sun is an expansion of Lord Aniruddha, Lord Shiva also prays to the sun god in this verse. Lord Krishna, by his quadruple expansion, Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha, is the Lord of psychic action, namely thinking, feeling, willing, and acting. Lord Shiva prays to Lord Aniruddha as the sun god, who is the controlling deity of the external material elements which constitute the construction of the material body. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the word Paramahansa is another name for the sun god. The sun god is addressed herein as Nibhritatmane, which indicates that he always maintains the various planets by manipulating the rainfall. The sun god evaporates water from the seas and oceans, and then forms the water into clouds and distributes it over land. When there is sufficient rainfall, grains are produced, and these grains maintain living entities in each and every planet. The sun god is also addressed herein as Purna, or complete, because the rays emanating from the sun have no end. For millions and millions of years since the creation of this universe, the sun god has been supplying heat and light without diminution. The word Paramahansa is applied to persons who are completely cleansed. When there is sufficient sunshine, the mind remains clear and transparent. In other words, the sun god helps the mind of the living entity to become situated on the platform of Paramahansa. Thus, Lord Shiva prays to Aniruddha to be kind upon him, so that his mind will always be in the perfect state of cleanliness, and will be engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. Just as fire sterilizes all unclean things, the sun god also keeps everything sterilized, especially dirty things within the mind, thus enabling one to attain elevation to the platform of spiritual understanding. I like this verse. Okay. Swarga pavarga dvaraya nityam shuchi share nama namo hiranya viryaya chaturhotraya tantave. My Lord, O Aniruddha, you are the authority by which the doors of the higher planetary systems and liberation are opened. You are always within the pure heart of the living entity. Therefore, I offer my obeisances unto you. You are the possessor of semen, which is like gold, and thus in the form of fire, you help the Vedic sacrifices, beginning with Chaturhotra. Therefore, I offer my obeisances unto you. Purport. The word Swarga indicates a position in the higher or heavenly planetary systems, and the word Apavarga means liberation. Those who are attached to the karma khandya activities described in the Vedas are actually entangled in the three modes of material nature. The Bhagavad-gīta therefore says that one should be above the dominion of fruitive activities. There are different kinds of liberation, or mukti. The best mukti is engagement in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. Not only does Aniruddha help fruitive actors by elevating them to the higher planetary systems, but he also helps the devotee engage in devotional service by dint of his inexhaustible energy. Just as he is the source of material energy, the inspiration of Lord Aniruddha is the energy by which one can engage in executing devotional service. Nama urja ishetraya pataye yagaretase triptidaya chajivanam nama sarva rasatmane. My Lord, you are the provider of the Pitri Lokas as well as all the demigods. You are the predominating deity of the moon and the master of all three Vedas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, because you are the original source of satisfaction for all living entities. Purport. When the living entity is born within this material world, especially as a human being, he has several obligations unto the demigods, unto the saintly persons, and unto the living entities in general. As enjoined in the Shastras, Devarshi Bhutapta Nrinam Pitrinam, 11.541. Thus one has an obligation to one's forefathers, the previous hierarchy. Lord Shiva prays to Lord Aniruddha to give him strength so that he can become free from all obligation to the Pitas, demigods, general living entities, and saintly persons, and completely engage himself in the devotional service of the Lord. As stated, Devarshi Bhutatma Nrinam Pitrinam Nakinkaro Nayam Rini Charajan Sarvatmana Ya Sharanam Sharanyam Gato Mukundam Parihrita Kartam. One becomes free from all obligations to the demigods, saintly persons, pitas, ancient forefathers, etc., if one is completely engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. Lord Shiva therefore prays to Lord Aniruddha to give him strength so that he can be free from such obligations and entirely engage in the Lord's service. Soma, or the predominating deity of the moon, is responsible for the living entity's ability to relish the taste of food through the tongue. Okay. Soma, is the predominating deity of the moon, is responsible for relishing the taste of food through the tongue. Lord Shiva prays to Aniruddha to give him strength so that he will not taste anything but the prasad of the Lord. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has sung a verse indicating that the tongue is the most formidable enemy among all the senses. If one can control the tongue, he can easily control the other senses. The tongue can be controlled only by eating prasad offered to the deity. Lord Shiva's prayer to Lord Aniruddha is meant for this purpose. Tripti Daya. He prays to Lord Aniruddha to help him be satisfied by eating only prasad offered to the Lord. Tar madhe jiva ati loba moy sudurmati. Sarva sattvatma dehaya visheshaya stabiyase namastrai lokapalaya saha ojo balaya cha. My dear Lord, you are the gigantic universal form which contains all the individual bodies of the living entities. You are the maintainer of the three worlds, and as such, you maintain the mind, senses, body, and air of life within them. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Purport. As the individual body of the living entity is composed of millions of cells, germs, and microbes, the universal body of the Supreme Lord similarly contains all the individual bodies of the living entities. Lord Shiva is offering his obeisances to the universal body, which includes all other bodies, so that everyone's body may fully engage in devotional service. Since this individual body is composed of senses, all the senses should be engaged in devotional service. For instance, the smelling instrument, the nose, can engage in smelling the flowers offered to the lotus feet of the Lord. The hands can engage in cleansing the temple of the Lord, etc. Indeed, being the life air of every living entity, the Lord is the maintainer of the three worlds. Consequently, he can induce every living entity to engage in his real life's duty with full bodily and mental strength. Thus, every living entity should serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his pran, by his life, artha, his wealth, intelligence, and words. As stated in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 10:22-35, Etavaj janasafalyam dehinam iha dehishu praner arthar diya vacha shreya acharanam sada. Even though one may desire to engage in the service of the Lord, without sanction, one can do so. Lord Shiva is offering his prayers in so many different ways in order to show living entities how to engage in the devotional service of the Lord. Arthalingaya nabhase namontar bahiratmane nama punyaya lokaya amushmai bhurivarchase. My dear Lord, by expanding your transcendental vibrations, you reveal the actual meaning of everything. You are the all-pervading sky within and without, and you are the ultimate goal of pious activities executed both within this material world and beyond it. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances again and again unto you. Purport. Vedic evidence is called Shabda Brahma. There are many things which are beyond the perception of our imperfect senses, yet the authoritative evidence of sound vibration is perfect. The Vedas are known as Shabda Brahma because evidence taken from the Vedas constitutes the ultimate understanding. This is because Shabda Brahma, or the Vedas, represents the Supreme Personality of Godhead. However, the real essence of Shabda Brahma is the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. By vibrating this transcendental sound, the meaning of everything, both material and spiritual, is revealed. This Hare Krishna is non-different from the personality of Godhead. The meaning of everything is received through the air through sound vibration. The meaning of everything is received through the air through sound vibration. The vibration may be material or spiritual, but without sound vibration, no one can understand the meaning of anything. In the Vedas it is said, Antar Bahish Chatat Sarvam Vyaya Narayana Stita. Narayan is all-pervading, and he exists both within and without. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 13:34. Yata prakashayate ka kritsnam lokam imam ravi kshetram kshetri tata kritsnam prakashayati bharata. O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so do the living entity and the supersoul illuminate the entire body by consciousness. In other words, the consciousness of both the soul and the supersoul is all-pervading. The limited consciousness of the living entity is pervading the entire material body, and the supreme consciousness of the Lord is pervading the entire universe. Because the soul is present within the body, consciousness pervades the entire body. Similarly, because the Supreme Soul, or Krishna, is present within this universe, everything is working in order. Maya dakshena prakriti suyate sachara charam. This material nature is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, and it is producing all moving and unmoving beings. Bhagavad Gita 9:10. Lord Shiva is therefore praying to the personality of Godhead to be kind to us, so that simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, we can understand everything in both the material and spiritual worlds. The word anushmai is significant in this regard, because it indicates the best target one can aim for after attaining the higher planetary systems. Those who are engaged in fruitive activities, the karmis, attain the higher planetary systems as a result of their past activities. And the jnanis, who seek unification or a monistic merging with the effulgence of the Supreme Lord, also attain their desired end. But in the ultimate issue, the devotees, who desire to personally associate with the Lord, are promoted to the Vaikuntha Lokas, or Goloka Vrindavan. The Lord is described in Bhagavad Gita 10.12 as Pavitram Paramam, the Supreme Pure. This is also confirmed in this verse. Shukadeva Goswami has stated that the cowherd boys who played with Lord Krishna were not ordinary living entities. Only after accumulating many pious activities in various births does one get the opportunity to personally associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Since only the pure can reach him, he is the supremely pure. Pravrittaya nivrittaya pitridevaya karmane namo dharma vipakaya mrityave dukkadaya cha. My dear Lord, you are the viewer of the results of pious activities. You are inclination, disinclination, and the resultant activities. You are the cause of the miserable conditions of life caused by irreligion, and therefore you are death. I offer you my respectful obeisances. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated in everyone's heart, and from him issue a living entity's inclinations and disinclinations. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 15.15. Sarvasva chaham hridisan nivishto mata smritir jnanam apohanam cha. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. The Supreme Personality of Godhead causes the Asuras to forget him and the devotees to remember him. One's disinclinations are due to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. According to Bhagavad Gita 16.7, Pravrittam cha nivrittam cha jana na vidurasura. The Asuras do not know which way one should be inclined to act, and which way one should not be inclined to act. Although the Asuras oppose devotional service, it is to be understood that they are inclined that way due to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because the Asuras do not like to engage in the Lord's devotional service, the Lord within gives them the intelligence to forget. Intelligence to forget. Ordinary karmis desire promotion to Pitriloka, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9.25. Yanti deva vrata devan pitrin yanti pitri vrata. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods, and those who worship ancestors go to the ancestors. In this verse, the word dukkadaya is also very significant, for those who are non-devotees are perpetually put into the cycle of birth and death. This is a very miserable condition. Because one's position in life is attained according to one's activities, the asuras, or non-devotees, are put into such miserable conditions. Namasta ashinam isha manave karanatmane namo dharmaya brihate krishnaya kuntamedase purushaya puranaya sankhya yogeshwaraya cha. My dear Lord, you are the topmost of all bestowers of all benediction, the oldest and supreme enjoyer amongst all enjoyers. You are the master of all the world's metaphysical philosophy, for you are the supreme cause of all causes, Lord Krishna. You are the greatest of all religious principles, the supreme mind, and you have a brain which is never checked by any condition. Therefore, I repeatedly offer my obeisances unto you. Purport. The words Krishnaya Akunta Medase are significant in this verse. Modern scientists have stopped their brain work by discovering the theory of uncertainty. But factually, for a living being, there cannot be any brain activity which is not checked by time and space limitations. A living entity is called Anu, an atomic particle of the Supreme Soul, and therefore his brain is also atomic. It cannot accommodate unlimited knowledge. This does not mean, however, that the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna has a limited brain. What Krishna says and does is not limited by time and space. In Bhagavad-gīta 7:26, the Lord says, Vedaham samatitani vartamanani charjuna bhavishyani chabhutani mam tu veda nakashchana. O Arjuna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, and everything that is happening in the present, and all things that are yet to come. I also know all living entities, but me, no one knows. Krishna knows everything, but one cannot know Krishna without being favored by him. Thus, for Krishna and his representative, there is no question of a theory of uncertainty. What Krishna says is all perfect and certain, and is applicable to the past, present, and future. Nor is there any uncertainty for one who knows exactly what Krishna says. The Krishna consciousness movement is based on Bhagavad-gīta as it is, as spoken by Lord Krishna, and for those who are engaged in this movement, there is no question of uncertainty. Lord Krishna is also addressed herein as Ashisham Isha. The great saintly personalities, sages, and demigods are able to offer benedictions to ordinary living entities, but they in turn are benedicted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Without being benedicted by Krishna, one cannot offer a benediction to anyone else. The word Manave, meaning unto the Supreme Manu, is also significant. The Supreme Manu in Vedic literature is Swayambhuva Manu, who is an incarnation of Krishna. All the Manus are empowered incarnations of Krishna, Manvantar Avatar. There are 14 Manus in one day of Brahma, 420 in 1 month. There are 14 Manus in one day of Brahma, which equals 420 in 1 month. All the Manus are directors of human society. Ultimately, Krishna is the supreme director of human society. In another sense, the word Manave indicates the perfection of all kinds of mantras. The mantra delivers the conditioned soul from his bondage. So simply by chanting the mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, one can gain deliverance from any condition. Karanatmane. Everything has a cause. The theory of chance is oh God, I don't know how you say this word. God. Anyways, I get the meaning. Let me see if I can. Anyways, repudiated. That's how you say it. The theory of chance is repudiated in this verse. Because everything has its cause, there is no question of chance. Because so-called philosophers and scientists are unable to find the real cause, they foolishly say that everything happens by chance. In Brahma Samhita, Krishna is described as the cause of all causes. Therefore, he is addressed herein as Karanatmane. His very personality is the original cause of everything, the root of everything, and the seed of everything. As described in the Vedanta Sutra 112, Janma Dasya Yataha. The Absolute Truth is the supreme cause of all emanations. The word Sankhya Yogeshwaraya is also significant herein. Krishna is described in Bhagavad-gīta as Yogeshwar, the master of all mystic powers. Without possessing inconceivable mystic powers, one cannot be accepted as God. In this age of Kali, those who have a little fragmental portion of mystic power claim to be God. But such pseudo-gods can only be accepted as fools, for only Krishna is the supreme person who possesses all mystic and yogic perfections. The Sankhya Yoga system popular at the present moment was propounded by the atheist Kapila. The atheist Kapila, not the son of Devahuti. But the original Sankhya Yoga system was propounded by an incarnation of Krishna, also named Kapila, the son of Devahuti. Similarly, Dattatreya, another incarnation of Krishna, also explained the Sankhya Yoga system. Thus, Krishna is the origin of all Sankhya Yoga systems and mystic yoga powers. The words Purushaya Puranaya are also worthy of special attention. In Brahma Samhita, Krishna is accepted as the Adi Purush, the original person, or the original enjoyer. In Bhagavad-gīta, Lord Krishna is also accepted as Purana Purush, the oldest person. Although he is the oldest of all personalities, he is also the youngest of all, or Nava Yovana. Another significant word is dharmaya. Since Krishna is the original propounder of all kinds of religious principles, it is said, Dharman tu shakshad bhagavat pranitam. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 6.3.19. No one can introduce a new type of religion, for religion is already there, having been established by Lord Krishna. In Bhagavad-gīta, Krishna informs us of the original Dharma and asks us to give up all kinds of religious principles. The real Dharma is surrender unto him. In the Mahabharata, it is also said, Ye cha veda vido vipra, ye cha dhyatma vido jana, te vadanti mahatmanam, Krishna dharmam sanatanam. The purport is that one who has served the Vedas perfectly, who is a perfect Vipra, or knower of the Vedas, who knows what spiritual life actually is, speaks about Krishna, the Supreme Person, as one Sanatan Dharma. Lord Shiva therefore teaches us the principles of Sanatan Dharma. Okay, this is the last verse. Shakti traya sametaya midhushe han kritatmane cheta akuti rupaya namo vacho vibhutaye. My dear Lord, you are the supreme controller of the worker, sense activities, and the results of, you are the supreme controller of the worker, the sense activities, and the results of sense activities, karma. Therefore, you are the controller of the body, mind, and senses. You are also the supreme controller of egotism, known as Rudra. You are the source of knowledge and the activities of the Vedic injunctions. Purport. Everyone acts under the dictation of the ego. Therefore, Lord Shiva is trying to purify false egotism through the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Since Lord Shiva or Rudra is himself the controller of egotism, he indirectly wants to be purified by the mercy of the Lord so that his real egotism can be awakened. Of course, Lord Rudra is always spiritually awake, but for our benefit, he is praying in this way. I don't know what this is supposed to say. For the M spirit soul. Oh God. For, oh God, I can't guess that. Should I look in the book? I'll look in the book. What verse are we on? 34. I mean. Sorry. Okay, so what the heck? What verse are we on? 43. Oops, I was looking at 33. Okay, there. Sorry for this delay, guys. Okay, of course Lord Rudra is always spiritually awake, but for the benefit, he is praying in this way. For the impersonalist, pure egotism is aham brahmasmi. I am not this body. I am spirit soul. Okay, that's right, it was missing. Okay, for the impersonalist, pure egotism is aham brahmasmi. I am not this body, I am spirit soul. But in its actual position, the spirit soul has devotional activities to perform. Therefore, Lord Shiva prays to be engaged both in mind and in action in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord according to the direction of the Vedas. This is the process for purifying false egotism. Cheta means knowledge. Without perfect knowledge, one cannot act perfectly. The real source of knowledge is the vacha, or the sound vibration, given by Vedic instructions. Here the word vacha, or vibration, means the Vedic vibration. The origin of creation is sound vibration, and if the sound vibration is clear and purified, perfect knowledge and perfect activities actually become manifest. This is enacted by the chanting of the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thus, Lord Shiva is praying again and again for the purification of body, minds, and activities through the purification of knowledge and action under the pure directions of the Vedas. Lord Shiva prays to the Supreme Personality of Godhead so that his mind, senses, and words will all turn toward devotional activities only. All right, that's our reading for today. Finished 2 minutes over time, anyhow. All right. Yeah, the master of all integration as well as disintegration. Oops. All right. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. Oh, I'm just seeing in Dheera Mataji's message here, there's also a line incomplete in verse 42. Uh-oh, so I missed something in the purport. Oh, God. Anyhow. All right. Thanks for reading with me, Rukmini. If you ever want, also, Rukmini, if you ever want to read, I'd be so happy to give it over to you. Any day you feel inspired. I could just, it's really easy with this program that I'm using. What is it, Restream? It's very easy for me to add in other people. All right. And I think what I'm going to try to do tomorrow is I'm going to try to set up 2 screens so that I can see the discussion also that's happening as I'm reading it, because I'm just missing out on everything, all the discussion that you and your sister are having. All right. Jai Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtatarashatashmad Shala Bhaktivedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shala Gurudev ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtatarashatashmad Shala Bhaktivedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shala Bhaktivedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtatarashatashmad Shala Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtatarashatashmad Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtatarashatashmad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Nitila Pravishta Mahabhagavat Srila Gorksharas Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Nitila Pravishta Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Nitila Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Shar Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanantari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai. Nam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Kshetra Mandal Gaura Mandal Vraja Mandal Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradatta Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. Shri Radha Kund Shama Kund ki jai. Shri Muna Devi Ganga Devi ki jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki jai. Shri Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Rudra-Dev ki jai. Rudra-gīta ki jai. Prachetas ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Shinitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashacha Krishna Bhakti Padadevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. And also tomorrow we'll go over this chart, which this section that we read, the Lord's quality, the purpose of the prayer. And then the deity, Vasudeva, who is the deity of consciousness, the function of deity is the controller of the senses and sense objects, and the purpose of the prayer is to make my chitta peaceful and unchanging like that. We'll go through all these different, all these components. And tomorrow, we're going to read about remembering in this way, purifying the body, senses, and minds by offering respects. Lord Shiva becomes qualified. Now he prays to see the Lord, seeing and serving the Lord's glorious form. Oh wow, it's going to go through all the different parts of the Lord's body. Great. Alright, I'm going to end this video now. Hari Bol. Oh, and Rup Manjari, I like it when you're chatty. Don't worry about that. Be more chatty. Yeah, very beautiful prayers, Rukmini. Alright, I'm ending the video now. Dandavat pranams to everybody. Hari Bol.